Okay, so we're going to get the grow bag out, and we are going to fill this grow bag with the soil. So we're going to empty the grow bag into one of these bags of soil, into the grow bag very carefully. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zip it up first. When you receive your soil, if you can't get your garden planted right away, I would recommend keeping your soil open, because there is, this is actually some real, like, it has wood fibers in it, and some different kinds of good soil. It has a fertilizer in it. So it's active, it's alive, and it's breathing. And if you close it up like this, it will start to heat up in there. And if you put it out in the sun, it's going to sweat. Or you bring it in the house when there's air conditioning on it, and it is going to sweat. So if you can't do your garden right away, I would open the bag, as long as no one's going to turn it over. Okay, so I'm going to, got the bag here, and I'm going to put one bag in. Oh, I need to open it. Close it so I can turn it. I think I closed it too much. There we go. So it looks like a lot of soil, but it's going to settle down. And when we start to water this, you want to see inside, it's going to pack down. But we want to keep it kind of light and fluffy. We want to give the plants a good place to grow into, and this is all they're going to have for all summer. So we want to give them a good system of root system, a good root system. Okay, so I'm going to put the second soil bag in. And you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm actually going to add, this soil is a little bit on the dry side, so I'm going to add some moisture to the soil bag right now, so it'll be easier for me to mix it when it's a little bit moist now, instead of pouring more soil on top of it. So right now the soil has not been wet, and so it's got some peat moss in it, and that's going to absorb a lot of the water. And with your hands or with a trowel, I have a trowel, I'm going to mix this up to get some of the water.
Can you show them the trowel? Can you just hold it up a quick second and show them what a trowel is? And could you spell it?
Hand shovel, and very handy. But I've also, I think in this situation, I can also use my hands, and this is another benefit of wearing the gloves, because I don't really like to get a lot of soil out of my fingernails. So
how do you spell trowel?
T-R-O-W-E-L.
Trowel.
Trowel.
Okay.
Sounds like towel, but it has an R in it.
All right.
Okay, so I've added some water to it, and I want it so when I kind of hold my hand, when I press my hand together, it kind of clumps up. Now, I don't want it to be soppy, so there's water dripping out of it. You just kind of want to get it like that, so it'll just kind of hold together in a little bit of a mat together to get the water in. Okay, so I'm going to get all the sides kind of wet. It's like a big bowl of, I would say, brownie mix. And when people think about brownie mix, and they get into it, because you dry pockets in the bottom. Okay, so it actually is pretty fun to do this. And it's very, right now it's cooling off. It's a very hot day today, and it feels good to have my hands in this moist soil. Okay, so I'm going to put the second bag in here, and I'm going to do a little bit at a time. If it winds up that I don't need all this, I might hold it on, because eventually I'm going to need more soil as the plants grow. As the plants grow this summer, they're going to start to consume the soil that's here. I mean, it's going to always have soil, but it'll start to break it down, and it'll be more of a root mass. So if I can't use all this soil right now, I can top it off later this season. Okay, so I've added some soil here, and I'm going to add a little bit more, because I want to have probably about an inch or so from the top of the soil bag full for these plants. And actually, some of the soil I'm going to keep out, I can actually add if I need to. Okay, I'm forgetting about the root ball of the soil. Okay, so I think that's working pretty well. Our soil is good and moist, but it's not soggy. And all right, so in your instructions, it's going to say that you'll need to decide where you want to place your plants. And everybody got a basil plant, is receiving a basil plant.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Basil's really delicious with pizza, a lot of Italian foods. It's great with fresh tomatoes, and it's great in soups and like minestrone. It's a wonderful plant, wonderful herb to eat. Okay.
Let me come in deep and show them exactly what the basil plant looks like, the leaves and everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what's going to happen is this plant is going to start to flower soon, and we're going to want to top it. So what I would do is I would actually cut it, or I would pinch it. Probably with adult supervision, I would be cutting it probably right here, and I would get it to branch out so it would be bushy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my plant out of the pot, and in your directions it says you can either squeeze them or you can tap them. So this one, it had to squeeze in order to get it out. Now, I think most of the basil plants are going to need this, but see how the roots are wrapped around? What I want to do is I want to, I'm going to put my label over here. I'm going to just gently break that up a little bit. So rather than the roots growing around this way, they're going to start to go downward. And actually may just take some of these roots off so I don't get all this root mass in here. I already did this. The parsley was really needed to be trimmed back yesterday, so I cleaned up the parsley plants for you. Okay, so I'm going to just set that.
That was very kind of you.
What's that?
To trim back the parsley plants for the campers.
Okay, I'm going to place them.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so we're going to have either you got a parsley plant or you have an Italian oregano plant. And this particular bag is going to have basil, basil, parsley, and then we're going to plant some cilantro seeds. The cilantro is wonderful in Mexican food, any like spicy dishes. It can be used in cooking. Most people eat it fresh, like in tacos or salsa. Really great plant. So we're going to plant those by seed, but these two plants we are planting with a plant. Now I actually did do some trimming, so this one already has some roots. It did fill the soil. If it had left it in the pot longer, it would have grown into that. But this one's pretty much almost ready to go into the soil. So I'm gonna maybe I'll just get Mrs. Reed's. I'm just gonna place them where I want them, and I'm gonna figure out. Do you like this, Mrs. Reed? Because I do.
I love it. You make me want to garden. I have some herbs at home as well.
So I'm just kind of nestling them in there, and so I'm gonna just place these here. But what I'm gonna do is I'll finish out. If I like those here, I think I will like those there. So I think we're gonna go ahead and keep it in. Okay. So we're gonna dig a hole with our hands, little hole, and we want to plant it right at this level. We don't want it. Some plants we can plant all the way up here, but the parsley plant and the basil plant, we want to actually have the soil level be at the same level that that it's growing at now. So we got the hole here, and you know what I'm thinking? It might be. This is hard to see with the handles. Do I need to turn the bag around? Maybe that will be easier. I'll do it this way because I think the handles are getting in the way of the recording. Okay, so we're just going to start over here. Okay, so we're going to right at that. I'm going to go ahead and just tuck this plant in. And then we're going to do, okay, the same thing. I think we'll do it. We'll put the parsley a little bit in the back here. And we're just going to tuck it in. Okay, once we get those plants in, I want you to feel the top of the soil and see if it's level. I think we need more soil over here. And I'm going to put some more soil over here in this corner. We're going to plant our cilantro seeds.
Oh, nice.
Okay, and we're going to have to water the soil in. So, for the seeds, so it's a little dry right now. Like I had these wet over here. Okay, so I have the cilantro seeds right here, a little pack. And we're going to just kind of distribute those around the garden, okay? So I'm just going to take your finger and make some little holes. I'm going to only plant this about a 1/4 inch deep, not very deep at all. And we're just going to drop them in the holes. And it might just be easier to do it like this, unless you can sprinkle it in. But okay, so I'm just going to drop one in these holes. You may have more cilantro here than you need, but if you have more cilantro than you need for this particular planting, cilantro, like the basil and the parsley, will grow all season, and the parsley is actually going to come back next spring, and you'll have to replant it again. But the cilantro is going to be it's going to be pretty much done within about a month, maybe 6 weeks. So you'll have more seed here. So we're just going to drop these seeds in all around here. So we're going to have some cilantro coming up around these two plants, and they'll be harvested for their leaves for making salsa. Okay, yeah, so I don't need all these seeds, and so I'm going to save those for when I want to replace that cilantro. So you actually have another garden planting here, and it's all explained on the sheets that I enclosed in your garden in your packet. Okay, so after you planted the seed, you can see all the little seeds in the hole, Mrs. Reed.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we're just going to gently cover them. Okay, we're just going to gently cover the seeds. They have to have light for germination. And am I missing any? I think I actually missed a whole. I think that we don't need one there actually, but I think I've got them all covered. Okay, and then we're going to, just in case I forget their names, I'm going to put the name tag for my parsley plant here. Or if someone's visiting with you, that's not a parsley plant. See, I already forgot. That's a parsley plant. This is a basil plant, and you can move these if you want, as you want to show some visitor, or you want to say, what do you have planted there? And then, just so I remember that I have the cilantro planted here, I'm going to put cilantro there. So you can move these around however you like it. And so what's the last thing I need to do when I finish my garden? If I have dry soil, I need to water it. Okay, so I watered it down below, so it's nice and moist below. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to put a little bit more water on top of this dry soil right here to water it in and get those seeds starting to, they're really dry right now, so they're going to start to absorb that water, and probably within a week or so they're going to start to sprout up, and we're going to have little baby cilantro plants coming up, and we'll be able to cut some cilantro for salsa probably by early August. That sounds like a good time to have salsa. Yeah, especially if you have corn on the cob. You can make corn salsa.
Nice.
Okay. So in the instructions that you get for your grow bag kit, it's gonna tell you to after you plant your garden and you put it where you want it, you're gonna need to check it. I want you to check it every day. I want you to go out there and look at it, and depending on how much sun you have, it's going to take more water than it would be if it's in partly shade. So you need to check for water. Actually, over here it's a little bit still dry, so you need to get out there and check it. I also want, when you place your garden outside, especially if it's on the ground, because you can put this up on a table, but if it's on the ground directly, you want to make sure that no animal is going to eat it. Okay, that's really important, because it's disappointing to have a cat or a raccoon or a squirrel eat your garden. It's nice if you can get it up. And then in your packet, you received color pictures and some descriptions of this is all dirty now because let me take my gloves off. For those of you, everybody got basil, and then everybody got cilantro. There's a picture of it in leaf and flower. Some of you got parsley, and then some of you got oregano. Okay, so you can read about the plant, how you use it in cooking. And then, very important, because we like it, but so do some insects. So basil is loved by Japanese beetles. I've been fighting with them over the last month, and there's a picture of a Japanese beetle. So it gives you what to look for. I tell you how to mix soapy water up, that you can pick them off and you can throw them in soapy water, so we don't have to use any kind of toxic chemicals. Cilantro pretty much doesn't have any pests for the most part that bother it, because it's so strong smelling. Parsley is lovely. Like if you see this worm on your parsley, it's going to become that butterfly. So you need to know, you don't want to just go killing that worm you want to remove the worm off your parsley and go put it on another host plant that it can live on, and that's explained in the handout. And the last one that could have a pest is the oregano, and I have pictures of what that, there's a little tiny spider that can bother the oregano, so I have a picture on that and how to work with soap to address it. So that's our grow bag garden.